Something is wrong with Star Wars. Not the kind of wrong you notice immediately, but the kind you feel, because behind the excitement of the Mandalorian returning, behind the adorable face of Grogu, behind the promise of a brand new movie, there's a storm quietly building, and it might change the future of the entire franchise. Very soon, the world will watch Mandalorian and Grogu hit theaters. On the surface, it looks like a celebration, a return to form, a big screen comeback for a universe that once ruled Hollywood. But if you look closer, the signs tell a very different story, because this isn't just another Star Wars release. This is a test that could decide whether the franchise rises again or slowly fades into irrelevance. It all started with hope. When Jon Favreau first introduced The Mandalorian, no one expected what would happen next. A simple story, a lone bounty hunter, a mysterious child, and somehow, it worked. Audiences fell in love instantly, not because of massive battles or complex politics, but because of something Star Wars had been missing for years. Heart Grogu, better, known as Baby Yoda, became more than just a character. He became a global phenomenon. Toys sold out everywhere. Memes flooded the internet. Even people who had never watched Star Wars suddenly cared. And for a moment, it felt like the galaxy was alive again. But success comes with pressure, and pressure changes everything. As the show grew, expectations exploded. Every season had to be bigger. Every episode had to connect to something larger. Every decision had to satisfy millions of fans with completely different opinions. And slowly, the simplicity that made the show special began to fade. By the time Season 3 arrived, something felt off. The story wasn't as focused. The emotional connection wasn't as strong, and many fans started asking a question they never thought they would. Where is this going? Behind the scenes, things weren't much clearer. Inside Lucasfilm and Disney, reports began to surface about uncertainty, creative disagreements, shifting strategies, a constant struggle to figure out what Star Wars should be. And that uncertainty led to a bold decision. Instead of continuing the story on streaming, they would take it back to theaters. Mandalorian and Grogu was announced as the next big step. A cinematic event, a chance to bring audiences back to the big screen. But there was a problem. The film wasn't originally planned, it was born out of hesitation. Studios were worried. Streaming numbers weren't as strong as expected. Some projects had underperformed, and confidence in the direction of Star Wars was shaky. So they pivoted, quickly. And when something this big changes direction that fast, cracks start to show. Early reports hinted at a limited budget compared to previous Star Wars films, a script that went through multiple revisions, a marketing campaign that felt strangely quiet. Even the creators seemed cautious. They described the movie as a family adventure, not a massive saga, not a groundbreaking chapter, just a safe story. And that's where the real concern begins, because Star Wars was never meant to be safe. At the same time, something unexpected happened. Jon Favreau revealed that Season 4 of The Mandalorian had already been written, not just outlined, written, but it was never made. Not because the story wasn't ready, but because the studio wasn't. That alone tells you everything. Plans were in place. A direction existed. A larger narrative was building, and then everything stopped. Favreau had envisioned a continuation that would connect directly with Ahsoka, a story where the galaxy would face a new kind of threat, and at the center of it all was Grand Admiral Thrawn. Not just as a villain, but as a force capable of reshaping the entire Star Wars timeline. The idea was simple, but powerful. While some heroes remained lost in distant galaxies, Thrawn would return, and he wouldn't come alone. His arrival would bring chaos, strategy, and a level of intelligence rarely seen in Star Wars villains. This wasn't about brute force, this was about control, a slow, calculated takeover of a fractured galaxy. And it could have been the beginning of something incredible. But instead, it was delayed. pushed aside. Left waiting for the outcome of a movie that wasn't even part of the original plan. That's the reality Star Wars is facing right now. A universe full of ideas, stuck behind uncertainty. And then came another twist. Gina Carano. Her departure from the franchise had been one of the most talked about moments in recent Star Wars history. Controversy, debate, strong reactions from both sides. For years, it seemed final. But now, things are changing. After legal battles and behind-the-scenes conversations, Carano revealed that she had spoken again with Dave Filoni and Favreau, and the conversation went well. Really well. So well that her return is now being seriously discussed. If it happens, it won't just be another casting decision, it will be a statement, a signal that Star Wars is trying to rebuild bridges and reconnect with parts of its audience that felt pushed away. But even that comes with risk, because in today's world, every decision is amplified, every move is judged, and every mistake is remembered. Meanwhile, another problem continues to grow quietly in the background. Grogu, the character that saved Star Wars, might now be holding it back. It sounds strange, but it's true. Grogu isn't just a character anymore. He's a brand, a business, a massive source of revenue, and that creates a difficult situation. Because for the story to evolve, Grogu needs to grow. But for the business to thrive, he needs to stay the same. Small, cute, marketable. So the creators are stuck. Do they move the story forward or protect what's already working? Right now it seems like they're trying to do both, and that balance is fragile. At the same time, another voice has started to speak out. Temuera Morrison, the face of Boba Fett, a character deeply connected to the roots of Star Wars. He believed his story was just beginning. But after the mixed reception of the book of Boba Fett, everything changed. Plans were canceled, appearances slowed down, communication faded, and Morrison made it clear he wasn't happy. For fans, it raised another question. If even iconic characters are being sidelined, what does that say about the direction of the franchise? Because Star Wars has always been about legacy, about passing the torch, about building something that lasts. But right now, it feels like pieces are being moved without a clear endgame, and that brings us back to the beginning. Mandalorian and Grogu. This movie isn't just another chapter, it's a crossroads. If it succeeds, it could restore confidence. Unlock Season 4. Bring Thrawn's story to life. Reignite excitement. But if it fails, the consequences could be much bigger than one film. Projects could be delayed, plans could change again, and the future of Star Wars could become even more uncertain. That's why fans are nervous, not because they don't care, but because they care too much. They've seen what Star Wars can be. They've felt the magic, and they know how easily it can slip away. Still, hope remains, because behind all the confusion, all the delays, all the risks, there are still creators who understand what makes this universe special, who believe in its potential, who are willing to fight for it, and maybe, just maybe, that's enough. Because in the end, Star Wars has always been about one thing: hope. So, now the question isn't whether the franchise is in trouble. The question is, can it find its way back, or is this the moment where everything changes, forever? The answer is coming soon, and this time, the entire galaxy is watching.